So, Mike, you said something interesting. You said Mel's now bringing more deals to us than we brought to him. So, I'm like, Mel, when you present, I'm sure people are presenting opportunities to you now. It's like, I know he's connected. So, how do you decipher what's worthy of even presenting to the group?
Believe it or not, like, I've learned so much that I could understand, like, you know, like he said, who's the founder, you know, what he's done before, just how much I actually believe in that person. And I like to think I just have a good read on people and what they truly stand for. And that's always took me places in my life, right? Because just like these guys, they're good guys, and Steven is a good guy, Ben Black. Like I truly believe my crew of friends, David Offa, is really good people who we're very much aligned in just life. And then there's another group of people that I have tons of access to that I just can't function with on an everyday basis because our goals and hearts and minds and souls aren't aligned. So I try to, and I think that gets a little bit emotional, but it's just like I try to read people and understand people. And I would like to say I'm pretty decent at that. And that's the ones I'm like, you know, we should take a look at this. One, it sounds like a great idea. Two, I kind of believe in this person. And then he would vet it, and then Dave would vet it. And, you know, they're both so different at vetting things, but it ends up the same all the time. So that's kind of like, I don't know if I answered your question, but that's how I kind of like gauge. It's a lot of shit I just don't even bring up, you know?
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys, start with you, Mike. Artificial intelligence. When the age of artificial intelligence, we saw all of the AI stocks and technology stocks just boom because of ChatGPT, the buzz around it, everything. A lot of people are concerned, scared. You know, jobs are being lost currently. So there's downside, but there's also a lot of upside as well. What's your thoughts on AI? How are you actually implementing? How are you personally using artificial intelligence? I want all you guys' opinions.
So it's interesting. My brother-in-law runs the TED conference, and so the first day ChatGPT came out, he was like, "Dude, you got to see this." And so we start playing with it and making, you know, do a Saturday Night Live sketch about somebody, and you know, we're kind of running through that kind of deal with it. And I started talking to my investing friends, and real quick, it was Microsoft and NVIDIA. Those were going to be the two. And so it was almost consensus. It's one of those few things where every smart guy I talked to gave you the same answer, and they've worked. And so I would tell you that AI is going to be a bubble. Bubbles happen around things that will change the way the world operates. And so the internet bubble happened in 1999, 10 years before the internet changed the world, because it was clear that it was going to change the world. And it was an easy story for people to understand. And so we will have an AI bubble. Bubbles don't last 4 months. They last 18 months, 12 months, 16 months, somewhere in that zone, 12 to 18 months. And so what's driving the stock market now is a small group of stocks, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, that are going to keep going higher because the story's too powerful. So the markets are going to get way ahead of where AI gets. In reality, AI is going to change the world. It's going to change how almost every business operates. And it already has. I talked to the biggest hedge fund, quantitative hedge fund in the world, the CTO. It was funny, he showed up at a party of mine and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, "I'm a head of engineering at this hedge fund." And I was like, "How many people you have working for you?" He's like, 1,000. I was like, "Oh, that hedge fund," right? And I asked him about AI. He said, "Dude, we've been using AI for 10 years. This new generation, this new adaption is going to really accelerate them." And it was interesting. He said, "Well, it's going to accelerate that when you have these code-driven funds, right? These quantitative funds, the code kind of goes stale every 3 to 4 years because you're changing the language." And he said, so they're now going to use AI to refresh the code. It'll do it literally at 6 times the speed that they used to do it at. And so saves them money, keeps them ahead of the game. And so in finance, you're going to see more AI, but in almost every business. And it's a scary world because you can see ourselves going more haves and have-nots, right? I always worry that the world is hurtling towards Blade Runner, right? Kinshasa, Zaire has 14 million people that live without electricity. Yet we're talking about, hey, can I get an iPhone that sounds like her, that can, keep me company at night? And so I think it's going to be really fascinating to watch. It's going to be challenging to invest because some companies, are going to not have a moat and AI is going to eat them alive, and other companies are going to have. Well, the one thing about AI, which is hard, is it takes a huge amount of money, right, to get these large language learning processing. So it's data, it's huge compute power. And so it's hard to be a startup, right? Like the startups are raising billions.
Yeah.
But one thing about you mentioned the stock market, the NASDAQ was flat for 10 years. .com bubble, the stock market crash. So you said that those stocks will continue to go up. You don't think that a bubble would cause the stock market to fall?
It goes first. The bubble goes up first and then crashes. And I don't think we've seen the high yet.
But the stock market eventually will catch up to the crash.
Yeah, you're gonna. What happens in every bubble is you finally reach the point where there's no one left to buy, and it usually happens around something symbolic, like the great 2000 crash happened around the Y2K, right? The millennium turn. There was champagne being popped around the world. There was fireworks that went off 24 hours, right? From Sydney. Remember this we went from 1999 to 2000. The Dow Jones peaked January 1. And the NASDAQ had 62 more days. It was like March 20th or March 19th, where the Dow was going down and the NASDAQ kept going up, and then it crashed. And it crashed with AOL Time Warner, this symbolic, the big old school company buying the internet company at a stupid price. That was the last money in. And then we had an 82% crash of the NASDAQ. Not an 18% crash, 82% high to low. And so bubbles go so much further than you think they're going to go, and then they crash all the way back down. And so we're not there yet. Yeah. We're going to go a lot higher in NVIDIA and in Microsoft and in this idea of the world's going to change.
Yeah.
Because we just started it, right? We started talking about this 4 months ago.
Yeah. Inside of the AI, that's interesting. And Dave, I want to hear I want to hear both you guys' opinion on AI. But inside of that, it's like there are companies that are here. You talked about too, NVIDIA, Microsoft. But inside of a bubble, there are always some that are going to survive the bubble and they last longer, right? Yeah. So like there's the Amazon, there's the Apple, there's the Yahoo but there's also the Excite.com that doesn't make it. Yeah. Right. And so I wonder if you think there are companies that are on the come up, or there's startups that will come out of this bubble. I'm sure you have some thoughts on that. Or should we be looking at it from a different perspective? You said something very important. This takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of capital, but it also takes a lot of storage. So should we be looking in that data center type of situation where like these are investments we should be looking at as well?
Yeah, listen, so we have a data center business at Galaxy, and it's been mostly for Bitcoin mining. We're like, okay, can we repurpose the other 600 megawatts of capacity? And who's going to use those data centers, right? So like, the elite businesses are going to stay with the elite data centers because they're not going to take any risk. But there's a whole bunch of different users of AI, of data. And so the answer is yes, but it's really granular and you got to kind of do your homework. And there's not a macro bet on it, I don't think. Just say buy all the data centers. I think you got to be very careful to understand which ones are going to win. So you're getting it with Amazon because the big cloud providers already have it. And so you're getting it with Amazon, you're getting it with Google, getting it with Microsoft. It's why those damn stocks just keep going.
Mike, I know you have to go. Everybody has to go, or?
We're together. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll wrap it up.